Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. It's amazing! But the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Did you know Yellowstone is the world's first national park? Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, was the first national park in the world. Located mostly in Wyoming, USA, it is a true natural wonder. The park is famous for its geysers, hot springs, and wildlife, and it sits atop a massive volcanic caldera. This makes it not only a beautiful, but geologically unique place on the planet. Yellowstone is Mother Nature's masterpiece, attracting millions of visitors each year. Did you know that one of the most recognizable symbols of the United States, the Statue of Liberty, was a gift from France? The statue, installed in 1886, was presented as a token of friendship to strengthen the ties between the two countries. Interestingly, its architect was Gustave Eiffel, who later became famous for constructing the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The statue embodies not only freedom and democracy, but also the American dream, as it marked America's emergence as a global symbol for those seeking a better life. Notably, every anniversary of its installation is celebrated in France. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Why can the leaves of giant water lilies support a person's weight? The leaves of giant water lilies, like the Amazonian Victoria, can grow over 3 meters in diameter and hold up to 70 kilograms. Their structure resembles a strong network that distributes weight evenly, preventing the leaf from sinking. These plants are true wonders of nature and have become popular in botanical gardens worldwide, thanks to their beauty and remarkable strength. Why have the Maldives become synonymous with luxury? Located southwest of Sri Lanka, the Maldives have long been a dream destination for those seeking seclusion, beauty, and opulence. This archipelago is renowned for its pristine white beaches, crystal-clear waters, and vibrant coral reefs. Each year, the Maldives attract more tourists, solidifying their reputation as one of the most exclusive and popular honeymoon or luxury vacation spots. The allure of these islands lies not only in their natural beauty, but also in the unique atmosphere of tranquility that allows escape from the bustle of the world. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects 2 Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute. Only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. What does a sunset on Mars look like? You'll be amazed. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars, where the sky doesn't turn red like it does on Earth, but blue. This unique phenomenon happens because of how the thin Martian atmosphere scatters sunlight. Unlike Earth's thick atmosphere that gives us those fiery reds and oranges, the Martian atmosphere bends light in a way that turns the sky into a stunning shade of blue. It's a cosmic anomaly that makes Mars feel like its own special planet. The next time you watch a sunset here on Earth, think about how it must be on Mars. Can it be true? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now, they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So, the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Hyundai logo. What do the shaking hands hide? Have you ever wondered what the Hyundai logo means? It's not just an H on an oval background. If you look closely, you'll notice that the logo resembles two people shaking hands. This symbol represents Hyundai's commitment to building trusting relationships between the company and its customers. The oval surrounding the letter symbolizes the brand's global ambitions, while the handshake is a sign of successful cooperation. Since its inception, Hyundai has emphasized quality, reliability, and customer satisfaction, and their logo reflects this philosophy. So the next time you see a Hyundai car on the road, remember that the symbol is more than just a logo. It's a story of trust and partnership. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Can you imagine that the Beatles couldn't read music? One of the most influential bands in history, the Beatles, never learned to read sheet music. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr created their legendary melodies and songs purely by ear, relying on their musical intuition. Despite this, they gave the world hit after hit, forever changing the course of musical history. This fact breaks the stereotype that to create great music, one must be a professional musician who reads music. Their exceptional creative talent and improvisational ability prove that passion and talent matter more than technical skills. Is it really possible? The USA started as a colony of England. Once, this country was part of the British Empire, beginning when England established several colonies in North America. At that time, the local inhabitants, often European immigrants, could freely conduct business and build their lives, but soon, the British government tightened its control. In 1776, after numerous conflicts, the country gained its independence during the War of Independence. becoming a new nation, the United States of America. This struggle for freedom and independence formed the foundation of American history and culture. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative. They play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So, the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. Wow! It turns out that Virginia has gifted the United States more presidents than any other state. Among the notable presidents born in this state are figures like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison. Virginia is considered the birthplace of American democracy, and its historical legacy continues to influence the political life of the country. This also symbolizes the importance of the state in shaping the political culture of the U.S. and its role in the nation's quest for independence. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Did you know that medieval winemakers used tun as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term tun was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. One tun referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. The legend of the cookie: how Nestlé got the recipe in exchange for chocolate. We all love chocolate chip cookies, but do you know how they became so popular? In the 1930s, Ruth Wakefield invented the famous Toll House chocolate chip cookie. But she didn't sell the recipe to Nestlé. Instead, Ruth made a deal where Nestlé would print her recipe on their chocolate bars, and in return, she received a lifetime supply of chocolate. That's how chocolate chip cookies became a worldwide favorite, and Ruth Wakefield's name went down in culinary history. The amazing world of skin. More microbes than people on Earth. There are more microorganisms living on your skin than there are people on the planet. This living ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes is called the skin microbiome. And while the thought of billions of organisms living on your skin might sound alarming, they actually play an important role in protecting your body. These microbes help keep your skin healthy, fight infections, and maintain the balance of your body's ecosystem. So the next time you think about cleanliness, remember, your skin is home to an army of tiny helpers. Why do lightning bolts often strike the same place? Lightning strikes tend to favor certain spots. For example, Lake Victoria in Africa is one of the most lightning-prone places in the world. Why does this happen? It's due to unique climate conditions that create almost continuous thunderstorms. Warm air rising from the lake's surface meets cooler air currents, triggering constant electrical discharges. Here's what's even more interesting. Lightning can strike the same place several times in a short period, and it's not a myth. Researchers found that high ground conductivity also plays a key role in attracting lightning to specific spots. Interestingly, Preikestolen in Norway is one of the most dangerous cliffs that should only be visited during the warm months. Preikestolen, also known as the Pulpit Rock, is a massive 600-meter cliff that attracts tourists with its stunning views of the Lysefjord below. However, it's important to note that the cliff is not recommended for visits in winter and spring due to hazardous icy conditions. In contrast, during the summer, its summit offers breathtaking vistas that are truly awe-inspiring. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot, as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food. It also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. Who would have thought a group of badgers is called a setae? In the world of wildlife terminology, a group of badgers is known as a setae. This unusual term adds a bit of quirkiness to the vocabulary of nature. Badgers are known for their burrowing abilities, and they form close-knit social groups. This unique collective noun perfectly captures their digging prowess and teamwork. So, next time you see a group of badgers, you'll know you're witnessing a setae in action, a true badge of nature's oddities. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. This is why many consider the USA a symbol of democracy. Despite its globally recognized influence on democratic processes, it's interesting to note that women gained the right to vote in the US only in 1920, after many years of fighting for their rights. Native Americans, the indigenous people of the country, became official US citizens only in 1924. This demonstrates how long the struggle for equality and justice has been in a country that today symbolizes freedom and democracy for the entire world. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. Did you know the term cow is often used incorrectly? The term cow technically refers only to a female cattle that has given birth to at least one calf. A female that has not yet had a calf is properly called a heifer. Male cattle are called bulls. This term is often used incorrectly in everyday conversation when referring to cattle in general. The next time you speak about cows, remember that there are many nuances to the term, depending on the animal's sex and age. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Did you know there's a fort made entirely of coral? Fort Jefferson, located on dry Tortugas Island in Florida, is one of the largest structures made of coral blocks. Construction began in 1846 and continued for more than 30 years. This fort served as an important strategic defense point for the U.S. coastline, but it's also famous for being built almost entirely out of coral reefs. Now, it's a national park and a popular tourist attraction. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech, it's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints, or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. Did you know that we lose a total of 9 years of life on smartphone screens? Imagine this. According to research, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on their smartphone. Now, multiply that over an entire lifetime. Let's say 72 years. It turns out that a whole 9 years of your life is spent staring at your phone screen. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish in that time? Traveling to new countries, learning multiple languages, or writing a book. There are endless possibilities. Next time you pick up your phone, remember, you have 9 years you could live differently. The oldest toy in the world is just a stick. Believe it or not, one of the oldest toys on Earth is simply a stick. For thousands of years, sticks have been used by people for all kinds of purposes, from simple play to the creation of complex tools. Children have used sticks in role-playing games, imagining them as swords, weapons, or magical wands. These simple yet versatile objects remain a staple in children's games even today. Their popularity is so great that in 2008, the United States even established a National Stick Day to celebrate the importance of the stick in toy history. Who would have thought that such a simple item could become part of our cultural heritage? Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Imagine for a moment that the United States did not win the war with Mexico. The war began in 1846 and resulted in the U.S. significantly enlarging its territory, acquiring half of Mexico's lands, including California, Arizona, and Texas. Had the U.S. not emerged victorious, the consequences for its future development could have been drastically different. Without these territories, the economic and strategic influence of the U.S. in the Americas would have been considerably weakened, making industrial and commercial growth more difficult. Victory in the Mexican War paved the way for U.S. dominance in North America and further expansion of its influence. How did a book about cheese conquer the world, even in places where it's rarely eaten? In the 1990s, Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese, was published. It was a motivational fable in which cheese symbolized what people want to achieve in life. The book became wildly popular worldwide, even in countries where cheese is not part of the traditional diet, such as China. This was surprising, as the book wasn't about real cheese but metaphorical cheese, which became a symbol of change and personal goals. The message about adapting to change proved to be universal, and the book sold millions of copies globally. Amazing. But on Venus, it rains sulfuric acid. Imagine a planet where it rains, but instead of water, drops of sulfuric acid fall from the sky. That's exactly what happens on Venus. In its atmosphere, clouds are composed of sulfuric acid, and when it rains, the drops evaporate before reaching the surface due to extremely high temperatures, which can reach up to 470 degrees Celsius. This is one of the reasons Venus is considered one of the most hostile planets for life in our solar system. If we ever explore Venus, this hellish atmosphere would be a serious challenge for future technology. What if I told you that a blink lasts only 3/10 of a second? Blinking is one of the fastest reactions of our body, and each one takes about 3/10 of a second. But despite its speed, blinking serves an important function. It moistens our eyes, protects them from dust, and even gives the brain a moment to rest. Throughout the day, we blink around 20,000 times without even noticing it. So, the next time you blink, remember, your body is working like a true biological machine, taking care of you every second. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Did you know that Hawaii is home to the tallest mountain peak in the world? Although Mount Everest is the highest point on land, when considering the underwater portion of the Mauna Kea volcano, it is 1.9 kilometers taller. Mauna Kea is a submarine volcano that begins on the ocean floor and rises nearly 10 kilometers upwards. From its summit, there are breathtaking views, and this volcano is regarded not only as a geographical wonder, but also as sacred by the local Hawaiians. Mauna Kea attracts the attention of scientists and tourists from around the globe, as its grandeur inspires admiration and respect. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise, and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low, humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. Who would have thought that gangs in Los Angeles still exist? Gangs in Los Angeles, New York, and other major U.S. cities are still divided by territory and constantly battling for power and influence. These criminal groups continue to exist and wage war even today, despite efforts by authorities to dismantle them. This situation has persisted for decades, and at times, police are unable to control the situation in certain areas where crime still thrives. Incredibly, a blue whale's heartbeat can be heard from 2 miles away. The heart of the blue whale, the largest animal on the planet, beats so powerfully that it can be heard up to 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers, away. This amazing fact shows just how enormous and powerful these ocean giants are. A blue whale's heart weighs as much as a car, pumping blood through arteries so wide a person could swim through them. Imagine, this natural machine sets the rhythm of an entire ocean. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea, near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Have you ever noticed that fresh, earthy smell after rain? This unique scent, known as petrichor, fills the air when rain first touches dry soil. The term petrichor comes from the Greek words petra, stone, and ichor, which is the fluid said to flow in the veins of the gods. It's as if each drop of rain reveals the earth's hidden fragrance, captivating our senses with a touch of nature's charm. What's a puggle? A baby echidna. Small, round, and unbelievably cute. Puggles are baby echidnas. These unique animals are one of the few egg-laying mammals, and their tiny babies hatch from eggs the size of jelly beans. After hatching, a puggle hides in its mother's pouch and feeds on her milk until it's strong enough to leave its cozy shelter. Unlike most other mammals, echidnas retain features that remind us of their ancient ancestors that lived millions of years ago. Each puggle is a little wonder of evolution. The inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA? Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. Have you ever thought about how Petra in Jordan remained hidden from the world for almost 2,000 years? Petra is an ancient city carved into the rock, concealed from outsiders until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt stumbled upon it. This incredible city, once a thriving trade center, is now one of the most visited attractions in the Middle East. Its intricate architectural forms, hewn from red sandstone, make Petra not only a remarkable historical site, but also a true architectural wonder. It turns out Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. When we think of pyramids, Egypt is the first place that comes to mind. But here's a surprising fact. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids, while Sudan boasts a whopping 255. These ancient structures, though less famous, represent a treasure trove of history yet to be discovered. If you love pyramids and ancient history, Sudan could be your next big adventure. Did you know that the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? Whale sharks can grow up to 12 meters long, making them the largest fish on the planet. Despite their immense size, these gentle giants feed mainly on plankton and tiny organisms. They filter massive amounts of water daily through their enormous mouths. Don't worry, though. Whale sharks are completely harmless to humans and can even be quite friendly if you ever encounter them in the ocean. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Have you ever wondered what states are? In the USA, states are not just administrative units like provinces in other countries. Each state has its own unique culture, nature, traditions, and laws. They are not merely geographical divisions. States have their own rights, including the ability to enact laws that apply only within their boundaries. There are a total of 50 states, each with its own identity and distinctive features. For example, California is famous for its technological advancements, while Texas is known for its passion for independence and unique culture. The last state to join the USA was Hawaii in 1959, when it officially became part of America. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the Sun. But one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. The inventor of pop-up ads regrets it. The story of the most annoying internet invention. In the 90s, pop-up ads seemed like a great idea. Ethan Zuckerman created them to separate advertising content from the main one, but they quickly became an annoying part of the internet. Years later, Zuckerman publicly apologized for his invention, admitting that it caused more harm than good. This is an example of how technologies created with good intentions can turn into real problems. The United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world. In 2012, there were 730 imprisoned individuals for every 100,000 Americans, placing the country at the top in terms of prisoners per capita. The justice system in the U.S. is uniquely strict, and although there have been several reforms in recent decades, issues such as prison overcrowding, poor rehabilitation quality, and significant racial disparities in the inmate population continue to persist. The high crime rate and large number of prisoners have repeatedly been topics of public debate and academic research. This prompts the government to seek ways to improve the justice system and find solutions to reduce the prison population in the future. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, the electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. In the UK, there is a national sport, golf. Do you know its history? Golf originated in Scotland. The first mention of golf dates back to 1457, when King James II banned it to focus citizens on military training. However, in the following years, golf became an integral part of British culture and gained popularity here. Today, golf remains a popular sport, and Scotland continues to host world championships. Imagine that the colors of the American flag match those of the Russian flag. This coincidence is not accidental, as each of the three colors on the American flag symbolizes specific qualities that form the foundation of the American nation. Red represents valor and resilience, blue signifies diligence, justice, and vigilance, while white stands for innocence and purity. Interestingly, the number of stars on the American flag corresponds to the number of states, and the stripes symbolize the original colonies that formed the first states. The flag's design was created by a teenager as part of a school assignment, for which he received a B. Gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Why sloths are so slow? A metabolic mystery. Sloths are so slow that even their digestion can take weeks. They can take up to 30 days to digest a single leaf. This slow metabolism helps them survive in environments where food is scarce. Sloths live in the treetops of tropical forests, moving so slowly that algae grow on their fur, camouflaging them into their surroundings. This disguise helps protect them from predators like eagles and jaguars. Thanks to their laziness, they use very little energy, making them true masters of energy conservation in nature. Why is space black? It's connected to Olbers's paradox, which explains why the sky is dark despite the countless stars in the universe. Though there are many stars, their light doesn't fill all of space for several reasons. First, the universe is expanding, and many stars are moving away from us so fast that their light can't reach Earth. Second, there's a cosmic horizon beyond which we cannot see, making stars beyond that point invisible to us. Did you know that William Shakespeare remains one of the most influential figures in literature? As an English playwright and poet, he is rightly regarded as one of the most significant authors in world literature. Despite the fact that no portrait of him was created during his lifetime, his works, such as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and Macbeth, continue to resonate and inspire people worldwide. Shakespeare not only expanded the boundaries of language by creating over 1,700 new words, but he also shaped the foundations of how human nature is understood in literature. His works have continued to influence literature and theater for centuries. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide-and-seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be.